Daddy, how could you leave me? Najimijar, May 14th, 1944. We never got to use any of the food supplies the Colemans brought, after all. The end approached sooner than we expected. After midnight, there's a loud knock on the door of the small apartment. Mr. Friedman Marcus is to appear at the gate immediately. Daddy is fully awake. He dresses in haste and hurries to the gate of the ghetto. He identifies himself, and the guard hands him a telegram. It is a summons for him to go to a forced labor camp in Komaram, some 50 kilometers away. He is to report at the gate at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Every man between the ages of 18 and 45 received a similar summons during the night. News of the summonses sends a shockwave throughout the ghetto. Rumors are turning into reality. Military trucks roll into the square and helmeted police pour out of the vehicles, quickly surrounding the ghetto with guns drawn, ready for action. What action? What's beginning to happen? Is this the beginning of liquidation? Grim and tight-lipped, Mother is packing Daddy's knapsack. Mommy was looking forward to labor camp, but did not think Daddy would be taken away from us. The suddenness of it all, the military police with guns drawn, does not bode well. I hear Mommy moving about in the darkened room, packing wordlessly. Daddy is in the kitchen, talking to my brother in a low murmur. As I huddle in bed, my stomach is twisted in knots like a rubber hose. Mommy, if I fall asleep, will you wake me at 4:30? Do you promise? Please, Mommy. Okay, I'll wake you. Just go to sleep. My head, the only part of me free from stomach ache, is whizzing with a million thoughts. Daddy had called me into the kitchen and told me to take care of Mommy. Don't be frightened, Ellie, he said. The Almighty is going to be with you all. He will take care of my family. You're a strong girl, Ellie. Remember to help Mommy in every way. He took my face in his two gentle yet muscular hands and drew it slowly to his own. Time stood still, and I thought my heart would break. I wanted to speak, but my words drowned in a morass of pain and helplessness. I wanted to tell him how much I loved him. I wanted to tell him that I knew he loved me. I wanted to tell him that I knew he thought I had nice legs and that it made me happy and proud. I wanted to tell him that our long walks, our long silent walks together were the happiest times of my life, and our swimming together in the Danube on the long, hot summer afternoons were the happiest afternoons of my life. I wanted to tell him how I loved him for his fast walk and powerful swimming, for his silences, for his athletic figure, for his youthful quick movements. But I did not speak. I could not bridge that distance with words. I held him very tight, my hands gripping his slim torso, my face buried in his neck. I did not cry. I was numb with a horrible foreknowledge of finality. Gently, he loosened my grip. Go to sleep now, Eliki. It is very late. Daddy, I want to speak to you in the morning. I want to tell you something. Okay, in the morning. Quietly, he walked me to the bedroom door, and then he sat down at the kitchen table with a huge folio of the Talmud. He beckoned to Bubby, and the two of them began to study the Talmud in hushed tones. This is how I wish to part from you, he said to my brother, learning a passage of the Talmud. Remember this passage when you remember me. I hear the murmur in the kitchen, Aunt Serena's restless tossing about on the sofa, and Mommy's quiet preparations. Outside my window, the ghetto has settled down. It must be about 2 a.m. The sound of clattering carriage wheels wakes me. The house is dark. The beds and sofa are empty. Everyone is gone. I run out of the house in my nightgown, barefoot. In the early dawn, I can see the silhouette of a small crowd at the gate of the ghetto. I reach the gate, the crowd out of breath. Mother, Aunt Serena, and Bubby are there among the handful of men and women, but Daddy is not. Daddy? I forced my way to the open gate flanked by armed military police. Daddy! Carriages are clattering in the distance. The last carriage is barely visible now, but I can see Daddy's erect figure sitting among several men. His back is turned, and the outline of his head, neck, and shoulders is sharply etched into my mental vision by searing pain. A sudden, violent shiver shakes my body. The chilly dawn is rapidly brightening into shrill morning. All at once, Mother becomes aware of my presence. Ellie, in your nightgown and barefoot? How could you do it? You promised to wake me. How could you do this to me? I did not even say goodbye to Daddy. I could not even kiss him goodbye. How could you do this? My hysterical sobs surprise everyone. I am aware of the astonishment my violent display causes, but I'm powerless in the face of my savage grief, in the face of unbearable loss. I know what I wanted to tell my father in the moments of parting, and I was robbed of those moments. All the self-delusions of the ghetto suddenly evaporate with the vanishing dawn. Oh, Daddy, how could you leave without saying goodbye? How could you leave me, Daddy? The fathers are gone, and the ghetto plunges into profound gloom. Every movement slows, every sound is muffled. Only the crying of the children is louder and more frequent. That's the only prevailing sound. Then another sound is added, the chanting of psalms. The older men left behind in the ghetto now sit on the ground in the synagogue and chant the psalms all day long, and all night long. The chanting of old men and the crying of young children blend into a slow, rhythmic cacophony. The sounds reverberate in my aching belly and lull me to sleep. The chanting goes on for 6 more days and nights until it turns into a dull refrain in my soul.